So Jordan, do you want to start?
Yes. Okay. Ani, bonjour. Jordan Desnakaj. Ni Nishoni, Minoa Windagi, Minoa, Anishinaabe, Manitou, you Michisagi got the credit. Ndunjaba, Makwa, Minoa Mishkandorum, Nahau, Bindagay, Mishomis, Nokomis, Minoa, Ngichi Manitou is Zoom, Ninwi Dam Maj Tamagad. Minokome dash patamagad, ni ben dash patamagad de guage, dash patamagad babon, miwa dash gawab dan minokomig, minowa bimsko sak damash tamagad, inj minowa. So, hello, my name is Jordan. I want to recognize, again, the ancestors that walked this earth, that walked this area, and I greeted their blue light, their spirit. So I'm from the Mississaugas of the Credit, and my clan is both Bear and Turtle. So, as with events, I always invite the ancestors to sit in and join us to those 7 generations. So I sent them the Zoom or the links here, so don't worry. And then I pointed out that it's going to be spring, it's going to be summer, and then fall, and then winter again, and then it'll be spring again, and that cycle continues, and that season's they grow in importance on me in the line of work that we do. So I thank them. And then the last part, Miguaj Gi Bijayak Akiniwia Bijak Mano Manodawin Minawamano Juab Zuin Gu Gna Wendam Iwagashi Majamagak Nahao Chimigwech. Just as we come together, that we gather kindness, we gather with good spirit, and then again I give a great thanks to those who take care of our ancestral objects and our remains and our belongings. In the session knowledge in the age of Zoom, there's the adaptation to the changing world around us. Well, there may have been a lot of setbacks to projects or research, field work, learning, and teaching. It's through that perseverance that we can make the strongest connection to our work. Nobody talks about how easy a project was, but maybe. But I draw a parallel to the culture in the digital age. Being able to shed away some privacy, adapting and evolving to its new times, recognizing the decline of knowledge keepers in communities and that need to preserve and to learn in as many ways possible. Anyways, Nishin, Nahao, so Chimugach.
Okay, great. Miguel Jordan. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to briefly provide some background of what the project is, and then one of our junior youth researchers, Gabriella deHaas, is going to provide her personal reflections. And we have a very cool video from Jonathan Ferrier showing the potential of land-based learning using a GoPro. So first, learning about learning through the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation, a community-based approach to social learning and pottery making. So this is our community-based project with 3 central goals, primarily focusing on bringing in Indigenous knowledge and archaeological approaches and community-based approaches to understand learning experiences related to material culture. So we're focusing on pottery, but the broader research program goes beyond just pottery. A big part of what we're looking at is developing capacity building for Mississauga youth. And so we have paid training where they are learning archaeological skills that in the early stages are just kind of basic archaeological skills, but next year we're hoping to develop it into more bringing in land-based learning with the archaeological skills. And as we develop this, we are hoping to create kind of these independent side projects within the broader program, having Indigenous youth, Mississauga youth from all the nations, because we are, this is it's guest of the Mississauga Credit, but also approved by all Mississauga Nation, and to get Indigenous youth involved with experimental archaeology to understand past potting practices and past technological practices. So initially, our plan was to do this in person, but due to COVID, we had to make a quick plan B. And so we decided to do an online workshops. We did a series of online workshops where youth were sent kits, pottery making kits, so tools, clay, as well as a hand caliper and a tablet for the training portion. And the kit idea came from Councillor Veronica King's King-Jamieson's educational programs that were taking place in the community. So this involved youth from Mississauga's Credit First Nation, Alderville First Nation, Scugog First Nation, Curve Lake First Nation. We had others from Hiawatha, but they were unable to make it due to other commitments. And everything was recorded, so anybody who missed any of the workshops was able to access them at a later date. Groups involved about 10 to 15 youth in each of the online workshops, ages 14 to mid-20s. The first set of workshops looked at different ways of doing pottery making, starting with experiential learning about how to what it feels like to mix different tempers with clay, also how to make pots, how to decorate pots, very basic using pinch techniques. But the focus was really just to ignite that kind of interest into Mississauga youth, and to get them. We just wanted to see if this was going to work in a Zoom workshop, and I think it worked really well. But we just had to see what was going to work. General consensus was the youth really liked the program. They liked doing doing the workshops. They liked how we did it. The only thing is they would have preferred in person, which is not a surprise. But moving forward next year, we're going to try to have more, maybe another camera or something to show hands and face. And then the second half was paid training. So we were involved with doing analytical skills and talking about, Jordan talked about field liaison representative, and we explored digital archaeology, which was not great because I used an Android phone and all the youth used iPhones, so we couldn't find a 3D modeling program that worked for all of us, but we'll develop that further. But all this is about developing capacity for resources that youth can create their own projects, and just to starting to get them to think about this. We had some youth that were involved in the actual wanted to continue in archaeology, but several was more just learning about their culture, learning about their community. So our goal next year is to, we want to do it in person, but we also want to expand it and have online workshops for youth who are unable to make the in-person events, and just have community speakers. We already had some community speakers come to talk about different aspects of their life, about learning, about the community. So we have all these different kind of tendrils that are all going out, and we've created a strong foundation. So in the next section, Gabriella is going to talk about her personal reflection.
Hey everybody, I'm Gabriella. I'm from Alderville First Nation, and I do not know my clan, but I'm very happy to be here and to be able to get this experience. So when I was first asked, I thought, okay, I'll start from the beginning. So how did I first hear about the project? So I first heard about the project through our local Alderville Council Facebook. And at this time, for me personally, it was kind of a rough patch for me. I was not very confident in myself, and I didn't really want to do anything. I just wanted to stay in my room and sulk around all summer. But my mom was like, okay, no, you're going to do this. She kind of pushed me to do this. And I was like, oh, okay, fine, whatever. So we go to the first, basically. And the thing that drew me in first was the team that we have put together. The team is very warm and welcoming, and especially when presenting to a teenage and young adult audience, that audience tends to be, you know, a little more nervous, especially if you're on your own and like no connections. You can be very nervous, you're very held back and very like unsure in a way. But our team has made it, how do I word this? Our team has made it in a way to make it that make us feel as youth to feel important and like our voices and our opinions mattered, and that we were actually a part of something and like part of a team, which was incredible. It was the first meeting, and how you can feel like, okay, yeah, I'm part of something important and you just started. So yeah, that was definitely one of the first things that drew me in. But then as the time went on, obviously my connections with the team grew, and you know, made me feel more and more welcome, and they were part of what made me excited to go to these meetings, was just to see these faces, you know, these familiar faces that made me feel confident in myself again. And part of that confidence that they also showed was they were open to, you know, all interests and all levels of experience. So like for me personally, I am not more so into archaeology, but I am from an art background. So when we were doing the pottery workshops, as Stephen was talking about earlier, I got very excited and I knew quite a bit, but it was still a lot to learn. And then when we did, I believe it was with David, we learned about different types of decoration, and how certain what we call decoration now is wasn't decoration then, like it had actual purpose. I still use that to this day. I am in an art class currently with my high school, and I am using these techniques and these skills that they used in the past to, you know, help me to, you know, bring it in and create a connection from my past into what I have today in my life today. Um, this project has also given me a bunch of opportunities. For example, this talk here. I was not gonna lie to you guys, I was very stunned when they asked me if I would enjoy or would like to come and be a youth presenter. And it's a lot to take on too, you know, being the voice of an entire group of like a dozen kids is crazy. And then it also, I don't know if my team knows this, but it gave me the confidence to do a talk at school. You know, I felt confident enough in my voice to talk about on Truth and Reconciliation Day. I I basically talked to my school, and it was really the team that encouraged me to do this, to do that talk. So yeah, that's all I have prepared. So I guess David is speaking now.
Miigwech, Gabby, that was really good. And yeah, just to put into context, you know, grade 11 presenting at the Ontario Archaeology Society. So, you know, Miigwech. So our last section, actually, this is, so Jonathan Ferrier is another of our research partners, and he is integrating the land-based learning component. And so what we have here is this potential, and he's been doing this with his courses at Dalhousie, basically attaching a GoPro and just going outside. So here's an example of him doing some salmon spearfishing in his traditional territory of Nemotchik. And I don't think he was unable to, yeah, he wasn't unable to make it. So hopefully, so I think this should work now. So there's just an example of some of the potential that we can do, and we're going to be thinking about. Hopefully, we won't need to do knowledge production through Zoom next year, but these are some avenues. So thank you. So it's 15 minutes. So I think we've hit everything we want. Jordan, did you just want to briefly say something?
Yeah, I think we covered most of it. Just wanted to kind of go over opportunities and the influence that communities can have. Like Jonathan's there and yeah, students like learning pods, all that land-based learning, and and then to point out my kind of section was the field liaison representative, or how we integrate the economic growth for communities, utilizing the CRM business, and how there's career opportunity paths for our youth to go out there and to bring back that knowledge. In my community, we've been able to use economic growth from the CRM business to learn more about traditional medicine, to bring in speakers from all over and to build our knowledge within the community, within our workers, and then we're able to expand that out into the community. But yeah,